listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
It's Wednesday night, time for the Paranormal Experience radio show with host Kat Hobson. Kick back, relax, and get ready to learn. Welcome to the show. Now, here's Kat.
Hello there. Welcome to this evening's edition of Paranormal Experienced Radio. I am your host, Kat Hobson, and you are listening to me here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I understand we may be having some slight trouble with our streaming link, and we are working on that. But I want to thank everyone so much for being here. You know, I had just the most wonderful time. I had an opportunity to go to my second AlienCon. I was fortunate enough to cover the first one. It was fantastic. The logistics were a little rough, but there was absolutely no problem whatsoever with the show itself. The information is always good. They have more people with more knowledge gathered in one spot relevant to the topic of alien research, ancient alien history, Egyptology, conspiracy theory relevant to these topics, and it's just amazing. You know, I was from Friday morning until Sunday afternoon when they closed with Eric von Däniken. It was just mesmerizing. There were so many panels. I think the most difficult thing was deciding who I was going to have to forego and able to get more information about a topic that I was researching. So it was too much of a good thing was my only problem with the whole experience. So I wanted to share a little bit about what was happening. I am absolutely fantastic with everything I saw. I have some audio clips I think you're going to enjoy. I've got some different people who are just fascinating, and I am going to be sharing some people that you may not be that familiar with. You know, when you get a chance to listen to Nick Pope and Mike Barra and Linda Moulton Howe and David Childress and everyone else just having a wonderful time, and they're anxious to share this information with you. They don't do this just because it's a hobby, right? I think that my favorite moments are when people realize just how intense these speakers are and they enjoy it. So it's pretty good. Pretty good. You know, the first panel was actually a really fascinating one, and it wasn't one I really expected to see. It consisted of those people who produce, support, and put together, executive producers, the money people, the logistics people. You know, one of my favorite lines was that David Silva makes Giorgio look good and not orange. We've all been orange. But they do a good job. The thing that mesmerized me and shocked me, really, is the fact that to a person, every presenter on the Ancient Alien show said that they were never told that they could not cover a topic that they brought to the History Channel. How cool is that? Would you expect that in today's modern media? I didn't. So it's pretty amazing. I have been fortunate enough the very first time to walk into a room when Susan with the History Channel was there. I didn't know a soul. Not one soul. But I do have a fair amount of confidence, so I was able to walk into that environment a little nervous, but not bad. And she was very pleasant, very nice, stepped right up to say, "I'm Susan. I'm with the History Channel. And who are you?" And from that moment on, she had a fan with no problem whatsoever. I was very fortunate that she was the first person I met. And her assistant and then another counterpart at A&E made sure that my credentials were appropriate because I had been given the wrong ones. And they made sure that my time there through the whole weekend was just great. I don't know if she knows how much of an impact she had. It was huge. And I wanted to share some things with you tonight because we started out after the production side of things with obviously the beginning. Not Eric. Eric was later. Eric Von Daniken was brilliant as always. But with Roswell and the experiences prior to Roswell. And I have 2 clips from Nick Pope. And I'm going to tell you that as part of the agreement, my clips are short. They could only be around 20 seconds. One of them may exceed that just a touch. I'm not saying. I'm not sure. Whatever. But Nick Pope, as you all know, is retired from the department, the Defense Ministry. They don't have departments in the British government. And he actually caught quite a bit of flack in a couple of panels about not violating his oath of secrecy. And I'm so pleased that he actually stood up for himself. And I'm not going to play that one, but I will tell you that what he said was, I take very seriously the oaths that I took to my country. And I would not be the person I want to be if I violate any of my oaths. And he also explained that those oaths are to protect one's nation, and that by doing so, by following those, he was the person he wanted to be. And basically he could sleep at night. So I'm going to try this. I've never played clips through this program before, so we're learning together. I hope you can hear this. And this is Nick Pope discussing the Roswell information coming out. I found that clip interesting because when I was going through all of this, it was just amazing because we have gained possession of one. One shouldn't be concerned. One shouldn't be afraid because we have gained possession of one. Well, what were we going to do with it, right? But this was in the initial reporting, and that is what they were putting out. And then, in less than 24 hours...
In 24 hours, the story was flipped 180 degrees, and the military said, "We've made a terrible mistake, it was just a weather balloon."
You get that. And I can't believe that they go from, we have one of these downed aircraft, all the way up to, oh, well, you know what? We were so wrong. It was simply a weather balloon. Bad on us. So, there you go. You know, it's really astounding to me that these people actually, in the heat of the moment, okay, this is just happening to them too. What they're not telling you is that about 2 weeks before, there had been more downed craft. They knew that they had a situation on their hands. And when they got out to where this location was, it was already contaminated by people involved with the material on the ground. It didn't happen in a vacuum. The others kind of did. And, kind of did. But one of the funniest things that came out of the conference for me was Linda Moulton Howe, about this point in time in the conference, says that she's talking to a rancher who says, and you know what? The most horrible thing, the most terrible thing, the most devastating secret, they're not green. They're not green. She brought the house down, okay? But I would assume that's because they were gray, perhaps. So, it's just really fascinating to me that these people, these government officials, it's 1947. This is not a calm time on the planet. It's a device that has obviously been flying. It's completely and totally not a weather balloon. The material was not. And because my husband is a machinist and a genius, I'm fascinated by metals. And very few people know that. So when I'm trying to get information about an unusual or new metal, there's reports of things that are not of this planet that are going on now. It fascinates me. I try to do some research and learn more about that, right? Because I was in the right place to do it. So when you sit back and you're listening to this stuff, you realize that not only is Nick Pope sitting there telling you this stuff, but Linda Moulton Howe is sitting right next to him. And she tells you this.
They used to take away today. There were two bodies. They were autopsied. Both of the bodies taken out of that wedge-shaped craft at Cape Canaveral were defined as clones.
Clones. They were clones. The bodies found in the spacecraft were clones. Well, that would lead to the question of, gosh, who made them? And where did they come from? And where are their creators anyway? Because if they can make a clone and they can get it here, they can monitor that. They're monitoring their craft. They're monitoring their mission. They're monitoring their personnel. And what I did not clip for this, I tried to, it was just a little bit too low, is Linda's point that what if you're the president and you have to go to your war minister and your secretary of defense and say, we're the people that made these things. When are they coming? What do you feel their intention will be, and how are we going to address this subject? And by the way, we've got all these Americans sitting there listening to this and watching this. And there's news reporters sitting right outside the door, and they're sitting in Roswell, and they're sitting at Wright-Patterson, and they're talking to witnesses. All this stuff is happening right now, and we are going to have a tough time. We need a story. So within 24 hours, it was a weather balloon. Right. People think that this stuff is just nonsense sometimes, and those are the people who have not stepped back to actually look at the research. I was talking with someone who is A, very secular, and B, very scientific, and someone I respect tremendously and happen to love a lot too. And when she and I were having a discussion, the topic came up about, well, why aren't they still here? Why don't things still happen? And I said, it does happen. It happens all the time. There are abductions all